All right, so today is January 11th. Crazy. I can't believe we're this far into 2016. Thank you for hopping on. You guys are awesome. And I just wanted to go through a few things to make sure you guys were up on what's going on. So Cafe Latte is up on the mobile app, and you guys should have access to it. So if people are asking, I know I put a challenge pack through today, so it should be good. And like I said, I think it's really good. So try it and change it up, see what happens. If you didn't make it to Super Saturday this weekend, the next one is April 2nd. So just kind of put that on your calendar for the next quarter, because I think it makes a huge difference in going. And check, some of them are Sunday or Friday nights, but for the most part, they're Saturdays. The other thing coming up is the Punta Cana sign up is your birthday weekend. Awesome. Go figure, Claire. Maybe you'll get lucky and it'll be a Sunday. But the Punta Cana sign up is January 19th, because none of us are Premier or Elite or anything like that. So we'll all be signing up the same day. The way that it works is you do a $300 deposit that's non-refundable. So I know that that's a little bit upfront, but I shared in the team page what I paid this year, and it's a quarterly payment that they break up the $1,200, and that $300 feeds into your fee. So I think the weekends are April 23rd through May 1st, and then May 1st to May 6th, something like that in 2017, and there'll be 2 different weeks. So we can decide who's going when. I personally think that, hey Loretta, I personally think that if you want to motivate yourself this year, put the money down and sign up, because you will be more willing to work for that vacation, if that makes sense. At least for me, that was a huge motivator. And all I did was hit Success Club every month. That's it. I mean, there was months that I barely got to 6, but I did it. Someone did comment in Glow Dynasty last night that the first 3 months you do have to hit Success Club, or you lose your registration, but they will refund you. I think that's what Maggie said. So think about it. I did get off the wait list this year, so worst comes to worst, you get on the wait list. And hey Loretta, I'm just gonna mute you.
Okay.
You can always go on the wait list and think about it and see how the first 3 months of the year goes. But just know that it's a really popular trip, and I highly recommend going, because you guys can all do it. Like I said, it's a huge motivator. The other thing that's awesome that they talked about at Super Saturday and on the Surge is anybody that's on Shakeology for the whole year through, Beachbody is sending you this awesome little like trophy of a Shakeology cup with a 365er. I don't know, you've seen Carl post it. So I thought that was really awesome, and I'm really excited to get mine. So work for your 12 months, because it's another thing to share that, you know, you're making it a healthy year. Last but not least, for new coaches, if you haven't explored in your online office, and even for Claire and Brittany, if you go under news and training and then the training tab, there is a ton of resources. If you're looking for something that like, hey, what should I be focusing on? It breaks it down by what level you are at. And there's a lot of videos and links and stuff. I always say though, be a doer, not a collector of information. So, you know, if you read something and you latch onto it, take action with it. But I feel like that's kind of an underutilized part of the website. So just don't forget about that. And if you're bored one weekend, go explore it. Okay, into our topic of social media. And so I figured that this was a good one to talk about, because when I had my Super Saturday, awesome, Claire. When I had my Super Saturday this week, Megan Ewaldson was there, and she was ranked number 3 in 2015. And her stats blew my mind. She's literally just a regular person, like so down to earth. I think that's the biggest thing with events, and why we stress them so much, is it makes this business real. You see that the people that are like top 10, they're no different than us. They just commit and go all in and be consistent every day. So I thought it was important to talk about social media, because it's something that we stress and stress and stress, and sometimes you don't know where to begin or where to tweak and adjust if you've been doing this for a few months, or how you can get better at it. So, some of this you may have heard 5 million times, but maybe it will speak to you in a different way when we talk about it again. Something that Megan Ewaldson brought up and brings everything that we do as a coach full circle is, number one, you have to be comfortable with getting uncomfortable in this business. I think in every aspect, including social media. So that goes back to doing a personal development to back up what you want to share over time. Because if our mind's not in a right place, we're not going to share something that's vulnerable. And one thing that really struck me is she was talking about how the connection of your posts on Facebook to what you're doing behind the scenes in your messaging, they both have to align consistently. And why is that? She was saying that when she wasn't doing the work behind the scenes and personally messaging new people and following up and inviting every day, she noticed that the interaction on her posts went down. And I kind of noticed that for myself. So I thought that was important to bring to all of your attention, because Facebook notices who you are messaging back and forth. It's kind of like a weird stalker thing, but they do. I mean, we're all on there, we're all talking to each other. So when you're building this relationship, Facebook's going to see, oh, Claire's talking to Brittany, so I'm going to throw Claire's post in Brittany's news feed because it seems like they're talking back and forth. And that never really struck me, and I've never really heard that out loud. So I wanted to make sure that I shared that with you guys tonight, to know that you have to be consistent publicly and privately in your messaging, or else it does not work. So you can't go post 3 to 5 times a day and talk to no one and expect to get huge interaction. It's just not going to work that way. So I thought that was really brought it full circle with talking about consistency in social media, and a good tip. When we went to Summit, they talked a lot about how video is going to be the next big thing. It's something that Facebook pulls from a lot, and not video from YouTube or outside sources. I'm talking about direct uploads from your phone. So if you notice, I'm obviously venturing into the like page right now, which is a whole nother monster. But it works a lot off of video. And if you're posting them publicly, you can actually track how many people are seeing it and how many people you're reaching, even just on your regular personal page. So it might be something to think about, inserting some videos 2-3 times a week when you're posting, just to kind of get a different grasp on what people are watching. And I'm not talking about 10 to 12 minute videos. I'm talking about like short and sweet, 30 seconds to 3 minutes tops, nothing crazy. There's a bunch of different apps that I can share that I've been using that have worked well, that makes it really easy. So going back to the basics, I think that's something that we're working on in January for everybody. And, remembering that you are not Beachbody, you are Christina, Claire, Brittany, and Loretta. And that is what the voice you should be sharing on your personal page every day. Sharing value, sharing tips, sharing the things that when you stop on your newsfeed, you look for. So kind of think about that when you start scrolling, and what kind of attracts your attention, and try to post more of that and see what happens. The other thing we talk about a lot is ask people for opinions. If you're going on a date night, post 2 outfits you're trying to choose between. Even if you already picked the outfit, who cares? Just ask for an opinion. People love to give their advice. So it's a great way to build your Facebook momentum before you're going to do a big invite post. Because if you guys don't know this, the more comments and likes you get on photos, the more Facebook starts throwing your posts in other people's newsfeed. Because the things that you are posting, and I don't want to get too complicated, but they're really only shown to 5 to 10% of your total friends on Facebook. So that's why we talk about friending new people, expanding your network, doing the behind the scenes work to back up your post. See how it's all kind of coming full circle. And Facebook is something that I have spent hours on YouTube, researching different things and how I should go about this or that or where I'm struggling. So don't be afraid to look up other coaches and see what they're doing and how they're sharing. A great book to read if you're looking for how to use Facebook better is Jab, 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 Right Hook. I forget the author off the top of my head, but it breaks down Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest. So I think for newer coaches, maybe a couple weeks in, that's like the next book you shift to, pick the book that you're struggling with most. But that's just something to pick up if you haven't yet read it, especially Claire and Brittany as well. The other thing, I just lost my thought. Okay, so the other thing that Megan Ebelson was saying is sometimes her coaches will come, thanks Brittany, sometimes her coaches will come and say, I just don't know what to post. I'll do my power hour and I get caught up and it just doesn't happen. And the biggest piece of advice I can give you is she said this out loud. She was like, I'll go and see a Lindsay Matway post and I'll see every one of my coaches liked it or commented on it. And she's like, that's your problem. You're spending too much time looking at other coaches and what they're doing. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by, even this team, you can go to someone's Facebook and click unfollow instead of unfriend, and they'll just stop appearing in your newsfeed if that's becoming a distraction for you. But you have to learn to treat Facebook as a business, a place of business, not a place of fun. And that may be hard and harsh to hear, but think about how much time you probably spend on Facebook and Instagram scrolling. I know I'm guilty. I mean, I'll tell you straight up, you could sit there for hours and scroll. But if you're serious about building this business and focusing on the message that you want to send out and who you need to reach, you need to change that mindset to treating Facebook like a business. That means not scrolling, not doing random searches or videos. It means having your list of people you need to talk to that day, getting in and out. Because otherwise you get sucked dry 4 or 5 hours and you feel like you accomplished nothing. And then you get down on yourself and then you want to do nothing and you say, well, coaching's just not for me. And I'm going to ask you, okay, who did you invite? Who did you talk to? Who did you friend request? Who did you expand your network? What were you posting today? And if the answer was none of the above, it's probably because you're playing too much time on Facebook. And it's a hard habit to break because we're all on our phones all the time and it's access all the time. But I think, all of us are in this business to build freedom in our life. And if you truly, sincerely want that freedom, you need to make that shift in your mindset. It doesn't mean you can't go scroll on the weekend or, once you get your work done. I don't care what you do with your time, but make that focused power hour strictly business hours and make Facebook looking for prospects, looking for coaches, looking for challengers. So if you're scrolling, that's what you should be looking for. One thing I like to do is just, if I'm not sure who I should talk to, is go to my friends list, just open friends and randomly scroll down and start making a list of follow-ups I need to do, start making a list of potential coaches that I would die to have on my team, and start making a list of potential challengers for the month. And then you kind of rotate. Someone never goes off one of those lists. It either moves from one list to the next until they're on your team or in your challenge group, of course. But that's kind of a good way. And it goes back to the 100-person list that Christina and Loretta, we've been talking about in the training. You can kind of break that down. Once you start developing new conversations every day, you're going to have more follow-ups and get deeper into conversations where you can feel like you invite. So your lists kind of bulge from that 100-person list into these categories, if that makes sense. So treating Facebook like a business. If you're serious about coaching, you've got to, because it's just a time sucker. It really is. one thing I was telling Christina in the training is don't be afraid to stock up your selfies when you're having a good hair day or you're dressed up or you're just feeling good. I do it all the time. And clearly, because I'm looking like this tonight, I'm not having a good selfie up. My picture is from July that I posted tonight. And that's totally fine. It doesn't have to be a real time picture. So just know that that's okay. And one thing that Monica taught me is on Pinterest, you can actually make private folders. And you can save quotes that you find on Pinterest that you like so that when you're having a bad day or you're not motivated by something, you can just go to that board that's private and pull a quote, stick it on a picture, and throw it up. That's always kind of my last resort when I can't figure out what to post. We talk about this all the time. If you want to grow a business, you need to be consistent. And that means posting 3 to 5 times a day, every day. And that may seem like a lot right now. That may seem like a lot for even those who are, more seasoned. But I think Claire's a prime example. There's a reason that the two of you are on a call tonight, Loretta and Christina, because you were attracted to her consistent posting. She was sharing value. She was sharing how she was struggling and succeeding through her journey. And she was open and heartfelt about it. And people see that consistency and they can build the trust with you over time. So it does take some time to build, but I promise that you'll still get some clingers once you really start opening up and have that personal story start pouring out of you. I think Brittany does a great job at showing her workout selfies. We all know that she is working out and she's doing it, and she's being proof that she's doing the background work to back it up to meet her goals. So she's another great one to look to for consistency. But don't be afraid to share different parts of your story as you go through this journey. Just getting a time check. I never know how long I'm spieling. But, sometimes things hit me at 10:30 at night and I just want to pour my heart out. So open up a note in your phone and just start writing it out so it's out of your head and into your technology, and you can copy paste it at a later time into a post. That also is a big time saver for me. Let's see what else. We talked about how everything connects, showing up every day. Let's see, place of business. I really like that, treating Facebook as a place of business, because we are entrepreneurs and we are our own bosses. So that really struck me as something that was really good. Sorry, I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything. Do any of you guys want to add something to this? Claire, Brittany, or the new coaches, what you're struggling with?
Actually, no, there's so many times I want to jump in. I was like, oh my gosh, I had an idea or I wanted to add something too. But I can speak to what you just said about the Facebook as a place of work. And I think to Christina and Loretta, that can seem a little overwhelming at first because Facebook has been either a joy or outlet, so the way I think about it, because I'm realizing because Richard was saying oh, I want to take a Facebook break or social media break, and probably because he sees me posting all the time and maybe thinks that I put myself out there too much, whatever, but that's my choice. But the way I kind of see it, coach, but I'm still Claire first, and in a way I think now that I've been doing this for 6 or 7 months, Beachbody is kind of part of my identity. So, yes, I use Facebook for business, but I kind of look at it all as a whole, and I still have fun with it. I still do normal things. I still show that I do normal things, and I think when I first started, I probably didn't post any normal things. It's probably food, workout selfie, Shaco. It was I did learn how to balance. It took me a little bit to learn how to balance, but going back to some other things you were saying, Danielle, about selfies, yes, stock up on them. I don't do my hair enough during the week, so I don't really get a lot of good weekday selfies, but stock up when you can, because I think Brittany and Danielle, we can say this, that the posts that get the most traction most of the time, a lot of times, are like a pretty selfie, because people want to see you. They're attracted to you. They are looking at you. You know what I mean? Like, you know, our food pictures can do some great things, but they're always going to be attracted to your face at the end of the day. But what I realized at the turn of the year, like, so last week when I was like really tired and trying to like think of the post for the morning, I was like, forgot that, like, wow, I've been a coach for 6 months. I have a zillion posts in Instagram now. And I've been meaning to ask you this, Danielle, because sometimes Facebook doesn't give other social media platforms as much traction than when you post through Facebook. So when I've reshared something from Instagram, it doesn't get as much traction. But what you can do, like, all my photos are saved in my phone, so I'll try to go back and find that photo. I'll either copy paste my note that I had, or copy it and tweak it, whatever. And that was so easy for me to do last week. And people don't know it was an old post or an old selfie. Like, if you see top coaches on their sponsored pages, they're literally recycling that shit all the time, you know, because they know it works. And so don't overthink it, don't overstress it. And even for me with posting, like, I got to a point, like Danielle taught me when I was really busy, I would write out my morning posts every night, and I was like, be there on my phone for like 10 or 20 minutes. And here I am this morning. And Danielle, I've actually kind of gotten away from that, because now I do it really fast. Now it's like I get an idea in my head and I just do it. And sometimes I write it out when I have a good idea, but it doesn't need to be super duper thought out. I think it is generally better when you can follow like the plan. I think that was posted in your training group, when you can have like a flow, because you'll notice if you don't really follow a flow, you might be like, oh wow, I didn't like post like an invite, like not like kind of like a challenge group invite, or I didn't post anything about coming to the coaching opportunity. So generally following a flow is good, but you know, you'll be surprised the things that you like don't post. Like even tonight, like that was a recycled photo, and I kind of threw it together, and you know, and I'm not expecting 50 likes on it, but it was reasonable traction, you know, and in a pinch it works. So that's my spiel.
No, I think that's all great, and I think that's a good point. The more you do it, it's like riding a bike. The more you do it, the better you get at it. The more efficient you get at it. Same thing with Power Hour. The more you do it, you're like, okay, 10 invites, in and out. I'm done. That's it. It's not 2 hours. It's not half my day. It becomes less stressful, I feel like, when you kind of have a plan to go on. And one thing that Melanie Mitro, top coach from the last 2 years, it's crazy that she's second year. She did the wake up call today, and I thought that was a good kind of back to basics and just like what she kind of does. But every single week on Sunday, she'll scroll back through her feed in the past week and kind of self-evaluate, okay, which posts got the most traction and why did they get the most traction? Were they more vulnerable posts? Were they asking a question? Like, what was it about that particular post that got a lot of traction? And kind of take note of that each week, because that'll be beneficial to you when you're starting to craft your challenge group invite and you want a ton of traction on it, how you can kind of tweak it to what your audience wants. And all of our audiences are a little bit different. So, you know, something that Claire posts might do super duper well, and I might post something similar and it just falls on my face. And that's okay. You're going to have a learning curve. There's going to be some failing forward. It's not like you can't just go delete the post if you don't like it or you're not seeing somebody, you know, commenting on it. It's not a big deal. But I always say a post is better than no post. And a selfie or anything that shows you or your story is so much better than a stock image from Pinterest. Like, we were talking about this in the training. If you can take a quote from an image you like and put it on an image of you or your family or you and your spouse or of you at home or whatever, something that's you and speaks to you and your story, it's going to get so much more traction than just a stock image that I could go Google and find myself too. I think that's something that new coaches kind of like, oh, okay, this kind of works. It's not that hard. I just type it in word swag and call it a day. It may take an extra 20 seconds, but it makes a huge difference with the audience that you reach. I would say Instagram, yeah, I don't post. I don't, if I share something on Instagram and then I share it to my Facebook from Instagram, I don't do that. I think that Facebook actually owns Instagram, but it's better, I think, to directly post your content into Facebook, not sharing from an outside source. Awesome, Christina. I'm glad the apps are helpful. I try to share more. I try out new stuff all the time. One of the video apps that I'm liking right now is called Video Shop, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check. Yeah, Video Shop. You can take videos and do like a transition how you would on a PowerPoint from one to the next really fast and throw them in, adjust the display, and have a 10-second video, throw some music on it behind. I mean, you don't even have to do music. I just think it's fun. So, but I think the main thing with social media is keep it simple, keep it you, and share your story. Loretta is doing an awesome job at kind of sharing her story through the 21 Day Fix. Like, I think that is so awesome because people are drawn into, okay, what the heck is this thing? I'm not really sure. You know, it sounds like a diet, but I guess she's doing it every day. And so it kind of just shows that it's real and raw, and that's an awesome, awesome way to go about it. Bringing people into what you're doing. What else, Brittany? Do you want to add anything?
I do want to add about, I'm really terrible at this because I'm awake at weird times because I'm a server. But the posting at like 9, 12, and was it 8:30? Mm-hmm. That it really, really does, like, that really does work. That is when you get the most traction. And of course, I'm usually still in bed at like 9 o'clock, which is terrible. So I was actually thinking of starting to use Postcron to post up the night before so that they'll post at 9 o'clock in the morning if I'm not awake yet. But, yeah, and the apps too. I love WordSwag, but I also love Photify too. But a tip for that is if you're going to use Photify, spend the 99 cents and get rid of the watermark on it because it just makes it look better. But
I couldn't agree more. There's just like a little logo at the bottom, and they make you pay 99 cents to take it off. But, I mean, who wants to promote someone else's brand? Not me.
Right. Yeah.
That's a great tip. And it's photo, like the word photo, FY.
I was just going to add a little bit about the power hour. I think this is something that I think as coaches we can say that I don't know, we're always trying to work to be better at. At least me personally. I mean, like, for instance, when I started this semester in September, Danielle and I have worked out, you know, kind of a system for me with everything I was juggling. And, you know, and I was rocking it pretty decently, you know, granted the time where my message is on point, no, you know, like my conversations weren't great. I mean, I was still inviting, I was still doing the things I needed to do. I was still growing at the time, but point is like as the semester got heated up, it got harder for me to maintain that power hour. I would scroll, I would be on my computer for hours, and I would what would end up happening is that it would just be more added stress for everything else that I have going on. And granted, you know, I'm still not perfect. I still struggle to make sure that I'm getting it in. But then I think the problem is, and what I kind of want to share with you guys is that we don't need to build it up in our heads as this really stressful, hard thing. And and this is just a constant, this is just a personal thing. I do this with almost everything in life. I kind of build it up in my head too much. And is what I'm, you know, like on Sunday when I was like in the car, like I could literally sit, like I could make 4 hours, have 4 hours of time and do like 10 minutes of actual work because I build up in my head. But when you sit there and just say like, okay, you tell yourself, okay, I'm literally going to friend request 10 people. I'm literally going to do all the follow-ups that are in my inbox. I'm going to send out, 5 to 10 invites. And if you just say it and you do it and you block out, I've told you girls, put your phone on airplane mode, silence it, put a timer on for 15 minutes. It doesn't need to be any harder than that. And kind of like going back to the part about being comfortable with getting uncomfortable, like just hitting send and seeing what happens. Like, I love what Sam said on the Glow Dynasty call last week about, if you can send a message to the scariest person, then you've done the scariest thing, and like the funniest thing, there's this girl I don't even really know, but like for some reason she intimidates me. She doesn't even do fitness stuff, but for whatever reason she intimidates me. And I don't think I've ever spoken to her a day in my life. And I messaged her just like unformed, just like, hey, how are you doing? And she responded immediately, like, hey, like really nice. And I was like, well, I'm an idiot. So anyways, just like, I think, we can all, and this is where bringing in personal development probably comes into play, about just knowing where you may be struggling, but knowing how to just push through when it comes to all the social media stuff.
I think those are great tips. And I find that all the time, because I'm at the point where everybody I talk to now is pretty much a friend of a friend, a friend of a friend of a friend, a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. So I kind of, and you guys will get to that point, because we all have the goal for you guys. Commit to be here in a year, and you will be mind blown, number one, about where you are, and number two, just like how far you have come. I think that both Brittany and Claire have grown leaps and bounds, and really committing to doing the actions, the unsexy stuff that 75% of our team is not going to do when life gets tough. If you can commit to just doing those simple daily behaviors every day, that's the only difference. Like, that's the only difference between me and someone that quit 4 months ago. I just decided that my vision was in place, like we talked about last week. My why was super strong, and I was going to commit to doing those behaviors no matter what came my way. Everybody has obstacles. There's always hardships and downfalls. Like, I had a horrible week or a horrible month at work the last month, but I never let it show in my business, because I know that there's people counting on me to show up every day. And even if you guys feel like you don't have challengers yet, people are watching you. People are waiting for you to post each day and see the positivity that you bring to their life. I cannot tell you how many times I message the scary person, like Claire is saying, and they're like, yeah, I've been following you for months. I just love your accountability and motivation. And I'm like, where have you been? Like, I just didn't even think that they were on my radar. Two of the people I signed up in the first week of this month, I don't even know them really. But we found this mutual connection, and yeah, you never know who comes out of the woodworks. And if you keep showing up and you're consistent in these simple daily tasks, it's just simplicity. Like Claire said, our mind's our worst enemy. So if you can control your mindset with personal development and come up and do these simple things every day, you will surpass any dream you have in your head right now. Like, I tell you that, like, everything is possible. And if you guys commit to doing it now and getting disciplined with it, you're going to be better than Claire was at 6 months. You're going to be way better than I was at 6 months. So just know that, we share this best stuff. Like, I didn't have this team group when I started. So, take advantage of the training. Don't be afraid to reach out to any of us. I think by now we don't bite, and we're always here to answer questions wholeheartedly. And anybody on the team that you relate to, don't feel bad about messaging them and say, hey, can I get a call? So we have less than a minute. I hope this was helpful. If Christina and Loretta, you guys have any other questions, ask away in the training group, okay? Don't be bashful. Thanks for getting on the call.
One last thing.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. And I don't, Daniel, you might have said this in the training group. I can't remember, but Brittany said this. I just want to clarify again. The key times to post, again, are 7 to 9 a.m. and 7 to 9 p.m. That's when you get the most traction. So, yeah, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, I'll post that again, just so you know. Well, go Tigers, and have fun watching The Bachelor. We'll see you guys.